Good day, class. Today we'll be looking at taxation of investment income. The first question you have to ask is, what is investment income? What are investment income? Investment income, they are those incomes received primarily from investment decision. You have your dividend, which is reward from purchase of shares. You have your rent, reward from purchase of property, etc. We have types of investment income. We have dividend income, we have interest, and we have rental, and we have royalty. So, looking at the instructions has an intro of what investment income means. Then we'll be looking at basis of investment income, basis of assessment of investment income. The basis of assessment of investment income, the basis of dividend, interest, rent, and royalty is the preceding year basis. That's the basis which investment income is being assessed. They are being assessed on preceding year basis. That's the income of 2019 will be assessed in 2020. That's preceding year basis. Then investment income, we have dividend. We'll be looking at dividend income, which is the first. Dividend is the profit from shares. Dividend is a profit distributed by a company to each shareholders in proportion of their respective shareholdings. Dividends, we have Nigerian dividend. Nigerian dividend, that is the dividend, the income from dividend distributed by a Nigerian company shall be deemed to be derived from Nigeria and shall be the gross amount of that dividend before the deduction of any tax which the company is required to deduct on payment thereof under the provision of any law in force in Nigeria. We have territories in which dividend paid by a Nigerian company arises. For dividend paid in Nigerian company to arise, it shall be deemed to be derived from the territory in which the recipient of the dividend resides, or where, that's to say, the territory to which dividend arise. It states that for dividend arise from the state which the receiver, that's the shareholder, resides. But for non-resident person, for dividend derived by a non-resident person, it shall be deemed to be derived from the Federal Capital Territory. We have dividend exempted from tax. One of it is dividend earned from abroad and brought into Nigeria by Nigerian residents in convertible currency paid into domestically account. That is dividend for someone probably that lives in the US. The person earns dividend there in US, comes into the country with it, but has the money in convertible currency, say dollars, and is in the domestically account. Those dividends are exempted from tax. The next we'll be looking at is interest income. Interest income, we know what interest is. Interest is an income from money lent by an individual, an executor, trustee, or anybody in or outside Nigeria. Here we said that interest income shall be deemed to be derived from Nigeria if there is a liability to payment in Nigeria of the interest, regardless of what form the payment takes. That's for interest to be derived in Nigeria, there must be a liability of payment in Nigeria. That is, if the person making the payment is in Nigeria, the interest being paid is deemed to be derived in Nigeria. Then the interest accrues in Nigeria to foreign company or person regardless of what form the payment takes and wherever the payment is made. Then we have interest from a source outside Nigeria. Where an individual is resident in Nigeria, the interest accruing to him from a source outside Nigeria is liable to tax in Nigeria if such amount of interest is brought into or received in Nigeria subject to double taxation provision. In territories in which interest paid by a Nigerian company arises, where interest is paid by a Nigerian company, the interest, whenever necessary, shall be deemed to be derived from the territory in which the recipient, just like we have that of the dividend, from the territory from which the recipient resides. But if the person is a non-resident, but if it's a non-resident person, the interest is deemed to be derived from the FCT. Then we have interest exempted from tax. 1. We have interest accruing to a person on foreign currency domiciliary account. That's interest to a person in foreign currency. That's, let's say Mr. A has an investment in UK and he has a domiciliary account. Know what domiciliary account means? That's account of foreign currency being held by Nigerian banks. So if the person earns such dividend and the dividend is paid directly to that domiciliary account in a foreign currency, the interest is exempted from tax. We have interest accruing to a person who is not resident in Nigeria. We say the interest on a loan charged on a public revenue of the Federation. If you read up all these, all these are theoretical. We all know that tax is all about tax laws. Once you know the tax law, it will be easier to solve. You can read these ends up. The rest we'll be talking about is rental income. That's income from rent received. Rental income. Those are rental income. That is a profit or gain arising from other person for the use or occupation, or for the use or for the purpose of occupying any property, just like your house. You pay rent. Then rent received in advance. Rent received in advance shall be spread over the period which the rent is paid, as long as the period is not more than 5 years. If the period is more than 5 years, it will be spread over a period not more than 5 years. Then allowable rental expenses. They are those expenses which are exclusively wholly made for the purpose of getting the rent. That is, those expenses are not capital in nature: cost of advertising, cost of hiring an agent, bad debt, water rates, insurance premium, etc. Then disallowable expenses. They are those expenses which are mostly capital in nature, or those non-cash expenses, or expenses made which are not made for the purpose of earning the rental income. The next we'll be looking at is royalty income. Royalty is the payment to an owner for the use of property, especially patent rights, franchise, or natural resources. Royalty payment is made to the legal owner of the property. Then royalty exempted from tax, just as our dividend. Any royalty which is earned from abroad and brought into the country, as long as the royalty is brought into the country in a convertible currency and is paid into a domiciliary account in a government approved bank, the royalty will be exempted from tax. Here we'll be looking at an assignment which we have to go through, solve it, then post it on our WhatsApp group. Then I will do the corrections over there, but in our next class we'll have the solution. Then we'll move on to our next topic. Thank you very much.